We've all seen saws. But do you know how a lifetime use iron saw is made? To create this rare, double-sided saw, not only must the error be controlled within 0.001 centimeters, but precise technology is also needed to shape and craft the entire piece. Let's take a look at how the iron saw is made. The master craftsman first places the steel plate in the stamping machine to punch out a protruding handle, then cleans up the excess metal shavings. This factory, with a history of 60 years, has passed down its traditional techniques through 3 generations. Even though the equipment has continuously advanced and the machinery has become fully automated, the saws produced remain consistent and are highly sought after. This allows the factory to produce as many as 600,000 saws a year, without worrying about overproduction, as the steel plate is rolled out. Next, it's transported to the front for the second processing step to create the teeth. The robotic arm first secures the steel plate on one side, then slowly moves it forward until it reaches the preset position to activate the electric saw. The saw blade next to it quickly cuts, and in just about 2 seconds, the metal is shaped into a serrated form. Decades ago, this would have relied solely on workers to grind it out manually. In the blink of an eye, the iron saw already has its initial shape, but this processing alone is clearly not enough. The workers also need to place the steel plate on the instrument platform, and as they continuously push with both hands, the texture of the teeth begins to emerge. If there's even the slightest flaw, defect, or damage, that steel plate can only be taken back for replacement. This is especially true for the current step. Can you believe he stared at it for a whole minute? Those who have used saws know that the teeth are always alternating left and right, which greatly increases the cutting force. In the video, you can see the teeth being pressed down, with each tooth being pressed down one at a time, creating that alternating effect. Next, we prepare for quenching, which is the only way to enhance hardness and toughness. This quenching process is different from traditional methods. It mainly involves controlled heating of specific areas using electric heat. In just about 10 seconds, a complete saw blade is heated. Next, the robotic arm slowly lifts the saw, preparing to move on to the next step, marking the iron saw. You might not believe it when I say this. The use of saws, dates back to the Neolithic era. Back then, they were called stone saws, which were jagged tools made of stone, primarily used for cutting meat. Next, we begin the finishing process for the saw blade. The workers only need to apply slight pressure, and the machine will automatically apply pressure to the edges. After the mouth is formed, start to apply anti-rust oil to the roller. First, pour the oil evenly on the roller, and then let the oil flow all the way to the bottom. Then put the saw blade in from one end, and after a while, a thick layer of anti-rust oil will form on the saw blade. Then enter the assembly stage. First insert the saw blade into the handle, then press down hard, then install the adjustable screw, and check it up and down. Make sure the iron saw is straight. Now let's take a look at the details of the saw. The edges appear exceptionally neat. And as usual, we move into the final testing phase. I have to say, the handle of this saw is really long, which allows you to effectively apply your hand strength to the saw. What do you all think of this iron saw?